Yes. Welcome to the Money Flow Sunday service. All right, man. Hold on. Let's take down a few things here. Got too many windows open, man. Too many windows open. Always remember, folks, whatever you think about comes about. Whatever we focus on grows. That's what that weird church music is in the beginning. Start focus, man. Sometimes you got to change what you got to change your mood, man. You got to change your setting. If you have my book, The Money Flow, in the very beginning, it says the money flow trading system is fractal. Fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process over and over again in an ongoing feedback loop. Ongoing feedback loop. Now, you might think that's just colorful writing for trying to sound smart. Fractals are infinitely complex. You ever use that word a lot? Man, I'm infinitely complex patterns across that are self-similar across different scales, meaning we're looking for a repeatable pattern. So the nature, and this is math talk here, that's math talk, but the nature of the money flow is seeking of a fractal pattern. And there's a lot of patterns. You'll see patterns in your own life. There's patterns in relationships. There's patterns with money spending. There's patterns in exercise. And that there's certain setups and there's certain conditions that'll make those things be or perform or become or do or be exactly what you want them to be. Fractal patterns, man. And a lot of life, all it is you breaking it down into the simplest of patterns. That's what the stock market is. It's what the real estate market is. And I don't claim to know all the answers or absolutes, but I do know things. I do know that things move, prices move in fractal patterns. That there's, you ever heard the term history repeats itself? Why do people say that? You ever also hear people say weird shit like, well, you got to learn history so that you don't repeat it? Why? Because as human beings, we tend to do the same shit over and over. Now, the good thing about that, there's shit called wisdom, man. And if you were to look at and research the concept of being wise, what does it mean to be wise? What does it mean to be a wise person? And if you were to look that up and maybe spend some time on it, it might improve your life. Maybe you already have. Wisdom gives us insight. Wisdom is the ability to look at shit that's already happened or patterns or something that came before and go, oh, you mean if you go over there and in the street you might get run over? Yeah, it's a fractal pattern. And you mean if I was to invest X number of dollars every week, Gerald, you could do an expectation? And you're like, yeah, it's a fractal pattern. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, the pattern of the repetitive process of an inside of an ongoing feedback loop of doing the same thing over and over and over. Universal principle that like actions produce like results. And so as you go through this process of repeating yourself, repetition is the mother of skill. Repeating yourself, you're going to see whatever it is you're repeating, expand, grow, do better. You have more, become more, do more. Whatever that is. Could be cheesecake, could be investing. And so thank God, man, the universe gave us this repeatable fractal pattern. Now, you may be like, man, I want to talk about trading stocks. I just did, man. I just did. That's what trading stocks is, man. Damn, man. Come on, Gerald. I got to do a sound check, man. That repeatable fractal pattern, man, That is that repeatable fractal. Yeah, there we go. We're good. My sound went in and out, man. That's why I was a little late today to church. So that's what I'm looking for in the money flow, man. That's what I'm looking for in life, man. I'm looking for me to do good things over and over. I'm looking for me to make right decisions consistently. I'm looking for me to be disciplined and apply myself in a consistent fashion and manner that takes the chaos of everyday life, the chaos of the stock market. Man, who the fuck knows? Up one day, down the next, tweet this, say that, do this. It's just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Right? And that's recorded for all of history right here. Now, you may not keep a journal. You're like, nah, I don't keep a journal. I'm too cool. I'm too cool to do a journal, Gerald. So come over here, man. You ever hear me say this thing, living is a life worth recording? Shit, if you're not going to write about you, who is? Let's see. So, who writes about AT&T? Well, every day, AT&T writes about itself. This was Friday. Look at that. It's recorded for all of history. I don't know what you did on Friday. You didn't tell me. You didn't write it down. You're too cool to be journaled. But AT&T tracks itself every day. Now, because it does that, we could find fractal patterns. Maybe that's what journaling's all about. I don't know. Right? Maybe that's what keeping a log is all about, man. You realize that's keeping books for a business. That's what that is, right? You're journaling, you're documenting. Why? You're trying to find fractal patterns, this ongoing feedback loop, fucking expenses and profits and sales and overhead and employee expenses and taxes, insurance. I don't know if you know this, they want their insurance twice a year the way I do it. It's a fractal pattern, 2 times a year. There's fucking 365 days in a year. We can divide that. We know how much money we make a day. We could set aside. We could fit, you could come up with all kinds of formulas to make sure that you're successful, that you can pay your bills, you can do your taxes, you get organized. That's what life worth living is, a life worth recording. So I'm trying to say it simple, for simple people. You didn't go to Wharton Business School. You know that, right? Like this, you know what? If you're middle class, dude, your children aren't being taught what they teach rich kids, by the way, just so you know. Just so you know. You ever think about that? Maybe they're telling their kids something different, man. Maybe they're teaching their kids at 12 how to buy a mall. We got adults can't figure out how to buy a house. Oh my God, man. You mean buy 2 houses, Gerald? Own 2 of them? My God, that sounds risky. Gerald, 2 houses? Yeah, some people are being groomed to buy empires. These are choices, fractal patterns in an ongoing feedback loop. Your kids know how to buy a house? No. Why? Their parents are scared to buy a house. So no, of course they don't know. What happens when your family breaks that cycle and you become the type of family that buy dividend stocks consistently and talk about it, becomes part of your nature and your culture to be owners of assets that appreciate or produce cash flow? There's only 3 ways to get rich in America, by the way. I don't know if anybody's told you. Probably not, because your parents were middle class, so you went to a middle class school, so nobody told you how to get rich. They said, listen, these people here, they're not fast enough, man. They can't think about this stuff. So we're not going to tell them about time times amount times yield, and that if they learn the concepts, which each one of these is a book, a seminar, a 10-year, decade lesson, to even understand the concept of time. You know who people don't understand time? People who get freaked out during sell-offs. They don't understand time. These are the same people join a gym, quit. Why? Because it takes time. In order to be very fit, hello, anybody that's fit will tell you, it takes time. You got to do something repetitively in an ongoing feedback loop of over and fucking over and over. And guess what they tend to do? Document it. Document it. Document it. They document it. They said, you got me on restricted. I got everybody on restricted. No more comments. We're just watching. We're documenting. We're not too cool. We can't track ourselves. So if we're not tracking yourself, if you're not logging yourself, if you're not writing yourself, man, you're going to have no chance. This all ties in. This is stock trading, man. Stock trading is about a log, man. It's about an ongoing process of price going through the 4 stages of price movement. What I discovered years and years and years ago, common thought was prices go up, prices go down, prices go sideways. Prices go up, prices go down, prices go sideways. And that's what prices do. That's how they move. And this goes back to 1850. This is what they began to write. 3 stages of price movement. Price go up, down, or sideways. Right? Well, as we begin to expand on this, you realize, well, there's sideways, and then there's up again. And there's sideways, and then there's up again. Meaning it doesn't go boom, 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 and the same, right? And what happened a lot, you're going to hear people in the background, price would move sideways, run up, move sideways, do a little pullback, go sideways, run up, and through that process, as other people are interpreting this same information, we start to see fractal patterns appear through the movement of price. And people who study charts of stocks, right, they call them technical. These are technical indicators, what we're looking at on here. Technicians, you know, they're technical analyst. There's all kinds of names for them. I'm a certified sanitation director. That means I'm a janitor, right? I'm a what? I'm a technical analysis. What does that mean? It means I look at a computer screen and try to make some fucking sense of what I'm looking at, of the chaos of price, right? What is that? What is a lawyer? You're allowed to practice law in court, do legal documents, right? So this in front of us is the movement of AT&T. And what I discovered years ago, well, long before me, back in Dow Jones started putting, Dow Jones was you ever heard of Dow Jones? You know where that name comes from? If you study stock market history, lore, you should. Why? Why do they say where does the word Dow Jones even where does that come from? Guess where it comes from? A person. He was the very first guy. He used to put out a newsletter. Living's worth recording. He began to record the stock market. I don't know what you're recording. You get a choice of what you record. What are you recording right now? You say, Joe, I'm too cool to record anything. Okay. All right. I guarantee you Warren Buffett's recording something. There's a lot of ways to record something. Everybody's not doing it the same, man. But you better be recording. You better be documenting. And then inside of that data and documenting and recording are ongoing feedback loops. Life is fractal, man. Not just the stock market, life itself. Fractals never end in pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. Weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly. You do have goals, right? Man. All right, it's going to be hard to get through this. Becoming superhuman if you don't have goals. So you got to get goals, man. You're like, man, I'm too cool for goals. All right. AT&T's got goals. What do you mean? AT&T's got a goal. We go look up the value of AT&T. Let's say we wanted to stroke a check. You're like, what do you mean? You're going to buy the whole damn thing. There's only 3 ways in America to get rich. It's own a business. Do you own a business? If the answer is no, we just limited it that one. Own a business, invest in business. Is this a business? This is a business. Is this the only type of business you can invest in? No, man, there's lots of types of businesses you can invest in. You could buy a storage facility. That's investing in business. You go, what do you mean? Well, they want $2 million. There's 100 units, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to put blah, blah. You bought a business. Now you own a business. You could also invest in that business, meaning you don't do shit there. You just got money in the deal, and then they give you money. A lot of people do that, man. A lot of people do that. I have deals like that. You have money in a business, they give you a cut. They don't make any money, you don't get a cut. That's called being an investor. Only 3 ways to get rich in America, right? Is to own a business, invest in business, Or this right here, my friend, stocks. Stocks is investing in business, right? And number 3 is real estate. But we're not talking real estate today. We're talking stocks. So if we're working, folks, we narrowed our window down, man. What do you mean working, folks? You got a job, man. If you got a job, you're probably not buying a business. Now, you could start a side one. But my point is we narrowed it down. So now that we narrowed it down, let's get on it, man. Let's get about doing it. So what I discovered is along the way, prices moved in, traditionally it was 3 stages. Well, I began listening to this dude named Stan Weinstein. Stan Weinstein used a weekly chart with a 20-period moving average. When we go to weekly, the green line becomes a 20-weekly moving average. It's fractal. If you're on a 5-minute, it's a 5-minute. It's 20 5-minute periods. It's only called a day because I'm on a day chart. And since I spend 99.9% of my time on day charts, 20-day moving average. This is a 20-week moving average. So if you look week 1, week 2, there's 5 days, 5 days. That right there, this right here, these 2 bars, this fractal 2 bars right here, make up the red line right here. Let me blow it up for Instagram. That's where a lot of the slower kids are from. Right here. That red line, that average price is those 2 days we just saw. This shit's fractal, man. Right? So let's drop to a 5-minute chart on AT&T. That's going to be an ugly chart. But drop to a 5-minute chart on AT&T. What do you see? Oh, man. Looks like it's in a stage. You're like, what do you mean? Look how easy you can draw support and resistance on this. Right? These are prices we're looking for. That's 5-minute chart, man. Now, I don't know who's trading AT&T on a 5-minute chart, but my point I'm trying to make, this whole game is fractal. Everything is fractal. So as I began to study this guy, Stan Weinstein, he's looking at a weekly chart, and he says, listen, anything where the price is above the green line, let's circle those days, the market is now trending up. So once it goes above that green line, or goes below the green line, right? And then, you got your, we'll get into those. I'm just trying to show you the points, okay? There was one over here. So you can see it's not perfect, right? There's one down there, one there, ooh, back down, right? Breaks. Now, what do they call that? If you study trading material, what do they call this? Where it goes above, back down, above, back down, above. What do they call that? Whipsaw, baby. Whiplash, Metallica. You ever go listen to that song Whiplash on Metallica's first album? Whiplash, that's this. If you're a trader, bam, you get in, get out, bam, comes right back against you, then boom, turns right around, goes the other way. And so if you run tight stops, this will mindfuck people for a minute. Yo, I got stopped out and it went back up. Now, good, get back in. You want to be a trader, you got to execute, man. You don't execute. You're not sitting around worrying about wins and losses on a moment-to-moment basis. It's over a period of repetition of time, man. You got to log them, right? So when this messes you up, these over here, you got to play perfect. Because a big move like that is what's going to make your money when you're trading, right? Look at these big sweeping, that's pretty obvious, a stage 3. It went sideways, it ran up a long way, started going sideways. Is it possible it could come back down? So as we're watching this, right, that's what we're waiting for. So the indicators, we use 6 indicators inside the Money Flow Trading Society. You might need 6 indicators for other areas of your life. In health. Hello. Man, it's amazing how much of this translates to all other areas of life. Meaning when you meet someone, they're kind of fucked up trader. They're kind of fucked up in life. It comes with you, man. So we can't make you a good trader or investor if you're not a good trader or investor at all. During your day to day, what do you do day to day? You're like, Gerald, I'm too cool to record anything. I don't write down goals because I might have to hit them. So you need to be the kind of person that does weird shit like that. You write down goals. You track things. You print it off. You don't have to walk around showing people, man, if it bothers you. And you need to write that shit down. You need to have goals. And they need to be big enough that kind of make you nervous. You feel kind of stupid writing them. Be honest. You need goals like that. Now, the goals from week to week, this is a fractal pattern, right? That's 5-day exponential average, 10-day exponential average, 20-day exponential average. Now, we know when these things numerically order align, right? This is, the trifecta, whatever you want to call it. When they numerically align and price goes above all three, you're going to have price, 5-day exponential, not a simple exponential, 10-day exponential. What does exponential moving average means? It means that the current price each day recorded. See, price isn't too cool to keep a log. A life worth living is a life worth recording. Price is recording. That's what charts do. They're recording the movement of time, of emotions, fear and greed, fear and greed. Price moves. As it moves, it's recorded. Right what you see with the 5-day, 10-day, and then 20-day simple, not exponential, simple. On purpose, there's a fractal pattern here. Go with me. Sometimes people get it and want to change it. I'm like, man, why don't you learn it first, then change it? Like, what do you mean? Man, don't fix it. You just got here. Like, go deeper. What is the relationship between that 5-day exponential that's red, by the way, and the blue dotted? These are minor moving averages, 10-day exponential, the fractal pattern. 1 week of trading, 5 days. 10 days is 2 weeks of trading. So we can determine where's price in relation to the last 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 month. The green line is 1 month. What does that mean? Man, what if I came up to you and I said, hey, man, the price of milk is higher this week than last week. You say, all right, well, get this, bro. Not only is it higher than the price last week, it's higher than the price the last 2 weeks. And you're like, oh. What are you trying to say? And I say, get this. Not only is it higher than the price last week and the price 2 weeks ago, it's higher than the price 2 weeks before that. And I go, might be a pattern. And we solved the great mystery of price movement in the grocery store. And a lot of time is spent worrying about what might be and what could happen, instead of executing on what is happening. And the guy said to me, Gerald, what would you invest $100,000 in? What I did yesterday, man. Man, I don't have a magic, I'm going to do what I'm doing, man. I record it. It's documented. Go look. He's like, what do you mean? I post it, man. I have a log. If you go look, I show you exactly, right? You come over here. He's like, what would you do? Well, bro, if you weren't so lazy, you could just come click. I mean, how serious is this guy? Gerald, what would you ever do? What do you mean? If you had 100, it's right here, man. It's right here. And then real estate stuff I have on Instagram. And I talk about it all the time. There's seasons and times in life. I want to be always about good things, fractal patterns. Like, my goal is to buy stocks every day if I can. Now, what if I can't? Well, because of the times I can, I build out this thing called a portfolio, and I have different positions. And what I'm looking for is maybe stocks that are on sale. And then inside of these stocks, I want to have growth stocks. I want to have some penny stock plays, right? I want to have some closed-end funds. I want to have some REITs. I want to have dividend stocks. And I got to come up with somehow a balance. And you're like, no, you can't do it in one day. It takes time. You're going to build this out. Time times amount times yield. And so as you go about building it, same with real estate, 1 property, and then 2, and then 3. And guess how much? Guess what happens when you have 3 that pay you money? Getting number 4 is a little bit easier. What happens when you have 4 paying you money? Well, shit, 5 is all that easier, right? And so as you begin buying things like this, what happens? You got $28,000 in AT&T. There's people that scare them. We got Americans that would scare them. From here to here, they're done. Why? They don't know anything about a fractal pattern of price going sideways, running up, going sideways, coming down, going sideways, right? Going up, coming down, going sideways, right? And this is on a weekly. Back this up, man. No wonder it's not even looking right. Look at this. So as I learn this fractal pattern stuff and realize that some people are recording and documenting, maybe I should be too. Maybe what you don't have. Guy said to me, how do you buy real estate if you got bad credit and no money? You don't. You don't get to play. Sorry. That's it. That's the answer. You don't get to play, sir. You're not disciplined enough. You don't have the characteristics. Success leaves clues, man. And you can't be successful if you can't manage yourself or your home. You're not going to go from having a fucked up life, personal life, relationships, home life, money life, everything's fucked up, to over here, though, you're going to kill it. It's not. It's going to follow you, man. It's going to cloud you. You won't be able to make moves or make decisions that you could otherwise. So a guy who's 27 and he's got no money and bad credit, like that's an ongoing feedback loop, guys. The same shit I opened with. You don't get bad credit by one decision. You get bad credit through a series of decisions, because most people want to work with you. Most people want you to pay them, right? So these things it happens. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. Money flow shit's not just about trading, guys. It's about fixing you, man. So you want to learn how... Anybody out there can own millions of dollars in real estate and collect rent and go about doing whatever it is you do every day. I know being you is hard. Being everybody's hard, man. Life is fucking hard, period. And it's full of excuses and waiting and this and that. You know, this stock is no secret. This stock has paid a dividend of north of 5% for most of you all your fucking adult life. And people still are undecided about it, man. Why don't I buy some? What should I do with it? What do you think will happen? So as you play that game, the stock just does this game. And there's people all over America, old people, predominantly old white people, have been just buying these things. And that's a fucking shame, man. And that's that's been changing. That's been changing. And predominantly men, by the way, ladies. You know that, right? Men mostly own stocks. That's terrible. Why? Shit, kids should own it. Why don't your children own stocks? Are they too cool? Oh, my kids are too cool to own stocks, Gerald. I'd rather they be poor. There's only 3 ways you can get rich in America. Have you ever told your kids this? Man, I took my kid aside immediately. Look at me. Look at me. I don't give a fuck what they're teaching you at high school, college. There are 3 ways. And if you want to do that, you have to put your mind on it. It's not going to fucking accidentally happen. It means you're going to have to make a series of decisions. It's called an ongoing feedback loop of repetitive action that gets you to where you're trying to go. Look at me. That's how you should tell them, man. Because nobody's telling them this. Nobody told you that. Nobody's teaching that shit in school. Nobody's telling them, you know that thing over there, anybody can buy that shit. Now, here's the thing. There are people who tell that guy, yeah, man, you don't need credit or money to buy a property. I know. I'm not oblivious to that. If you have skills and talent, you don't even need money, guys. Time times amount times yield. Yield part of the equation is the skill set part. Meaning if you begin to read about dividend stocks, if you begin to learn about dividend stocks, if you begin to talk about dividend stocks, if you begin to accumulate dividend stocks in this ongoing feedback loop of being a person. So you come over here, maybe you subscribe to Morningstar and you're like, man, let's check in on AT&T. Dividend's 5% now. 16% undervalued? Are you serious? Then you come over here and you could read. With the closing of Warner transaction, we believe AT&T is a much stronger place in the core telecom business. With renewed management focus and a stronger balance sheet. Man, they got a stronger balance sheet. Now, I didn't go to Wharton Business School. I did not. I'm going to confess. I didn't go to any business school. Matter of fact, I tracked my yard mowing by hand in a notebook. Okay? So the way that I got started in business was simple. I didn't have all this. A stronger balance sheet, a right-sized dividend, as well as a clear strategy to invest in its networks. Aggressively extending its fiber and 5G coverage to more locations builds on its core assets, its existing network customer base, and should allow AT&T gradually expand its share of the telecom spending. Man, we could dig into that. So instead of hanging out with your friends and all these things, sometimes you set a little money, little time aside, time times amount times yield, and you begin to read on these. Because if you don't read about AT&T, you know what you're going to do? Not buy any AT&T. Because that's the way the brain works. Whatever you think about in this ongoing feedback loop is what you attract or accumulate in your life, man. Whew. Man. That was gold. Driven by recursion, fractals are images of dynamic systems. The pictures of chaos. Man, the market is chaotic, man. Man, so are you, though, a little bit. I party with some of you. You're close to the edge, man. You're close. Boy, I had a great time last night. Went and watched a great harmonica player play. I'm thinking about it, sitting in there. I got to meet him and talk to him. I'm like, man, I wonder if he's got any money. It's the first thing I thought, man. I wonder what he's invested in. Man, what's wrong with me? Like, I play harmonica, just for fun. He's a neat guy. He's a YouTuber, really good. Thought it'd be fun to go see him. My first thought, I wonder if he's been investing. I got a feeling he hasn't. I ain't got the skill in my pinky this guy has. And guess what? You don't even need that. This doesn't give a shit if you play harmonica, or if you're a lawyer, or if you work at Home Depot. This is a fractal game. Nobody can keep you out. Nobody can stop you from learning. Nobody could stop you from buying that. That's what we call stage 2 breakout, by the way, money flow trading system. Money flow is not about, here's the thing. The money flow is about what is happening. It's not prediction. It's what's happening. And it doesn't say, well, this minus this over this equals secret universal code that prices will pull back into the sun. Like the shit I hear people say and talk, man, it's just nonsense. They don't even have enough assets to even be worried about where the economy's going. They need to be creating their own economy. They need to be documenting their own life. Instead of reading more and more, instead of reading about doom and gloom, you need to be writing fucking prosperity and abundance in your own life. You're too busy focused on on expanding you and your family. You don't have time for that bullshit, man. You're not locked into. That's why I don't get into it. People are like, what do you think about that? Dude, whatever, man. I'm playing what is handed to me in front of me. I'm going to look for properties tomorrow. The guy says, what are you going to invest in? What I invested in yesterday. Meaning, I already know, man. I'm already buying shit. I've been buying stuff for 20 years. It's an ongoing feedback loop. If you execute and make decisions consistently over a long period of time times amount times yield. The bigger the amount plus a little knowledge equals yield. And if you have shit, let's say you have $200 or $100,000 of your money allocated in closed-end funds making 13%. So you got $1,000 to $1,300 every month just coming in. That is totally separate than what you're doing over here in AT&T, right? The beautiful thing about these charts, and yeah, there's funds that pay 10, 12%, man. But you got to have money in them to get money back from them, right? And then over time, so if you go look, like, I think I put a total, I'm not kidding, it's not much, man. I've got stocks that I've put $8,000 in. They just pay a dividend. And just 10 years later, it's 17, 18,000. The dividend's 4 times larger than that. And if along the way, I'm watching this fractal pattern the way that I believe, and you could challenge me on this, man. So before I forget though, this is just me watching my portfolio with the money that I have right now. And the guy says, what would you invest in? I just did right here, man. Like you can see it. This is what I would do. Added to the SPY. What's the SPY? The S&P 500. So a guy yesterday, he's like, what would you invest in? Look. You know, it's like they want something more. Could it be that simple? 3 letters? SPY, dude. But guess what? It can't. He's like, well, maybe you got to stand on your head and spin, and you gotta call the winds, and you got to take some cosmic or bet that nobody else knows. Like, you got to prepare. You got to get in a bunker, and you got to no, bro. The SPY, and you're like, what? It's a fractal pattern. This I don't know where it's going. I don't need to know, man. Here's what I know. This is what it looks like when it bottoms. Right here. Price goes down, and then it goes sideways. And you say, well, what if that's not the bottom? Okay, we'll buy each bottom on the way down. Because over time, it goes up. It always has. Your parents' life, your grandparents' life, all the way back to 1850. This is not a secret, okay? Nothing secret about what we're talking about here. Now, as you get into the world of realizing that, all of a sudden your eyes open. Because in high school, they didn't show you this. All the dumb shit they have showed you in school, no one showed you this. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy to me. No one shows you the 20% down, put it like these things. This is math that could help you, like this. So if you look at this, all this is a fractal movement of price. You'll see it move in this pattern. It'll go sideways, then it'll run up, it'll go sideways, it'll come down, it'll go sideways. And you'll see it. You'll see it appear, chart after chart. Now, it might do it going down. You're like, what do you mean? Watch. Sideways, goes up, goes sideways, comes down, stops. Then what? Back down. And you'll see this play out. And then what? Starts to go sideways, right? Starts to break out. Then what? Comes back down. And it's still going through the pattern, the stages. It might not be doing it in the way we like. The flow may not be like to our prosperity. But that's what it's doing, man. And it'll go from stage to stage. And when it enters a stage, I don't know how long it's going to be there. Might be a week. Might go on a fucking 9-month tear. And it might just go up, sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways. Go look at Exxon, Chevron, Conoco, oil stocks, right? Go look at ARK. It's the opposite. Look at oil, look at ARK. They're exactly opposite. What if you owned equal of each? All right. What if you had 100,000 in one, 100,000 in the other? You're basically about even collecting dividends, right? And those are the dynamics of owning a portfolio. And you're like, I don't understand what he just said. Let me slow it down for you, for the kids in the back. As you become more, one of the problems that's going to happen is you get in the market, everybody wants, oh, I'm so sophisticated, Gerald. People get sophisticated, man. Let's see. People get sophisticated, get too fancy, forget how to do the basics. They're worried about options volatility, still don't understand PE ratios, cash flow, balance sheets. Man, there's so much shit to know before you get into that. If you really want to know this game, if you really want to understand, like really, are you spending some time reading on some of these things? Like if you're not, man, slow it down. Slow it down. Turn this shit into a digestible pattern, a loop pattern. Like spend some time, I do these one-on-one coaching sometimes. And a lot of times it's just what is our time spent on, And then not only is it what is our time, which is it's obvious. Sometimes you just need someone to say that to you, but it's obvious. But it's also, what is our mind on and how scattered is it? How scattered is it? And sometimes I have a lot of people say, I don't have time. And I say, I know. And they say, no, I really don't have time. And they'll say, well, I can't read, maybe I can't read charts as well as you. So let me show you something. And I said, okay, I know, you don't have time. What if you just bought when it broke out above the green line? You're like, I know, I don't have time, dude, man. I don't have time to look at this every day. And I'm like, no, every day you just come look. That takes like 3 seconds. And you look. Yep, below the green line. And that's it. You go to work. Next day you come back and you look. Yep, below the green line. And that's it. You leave. You come back next day and you look. What are you waiting for? This. This is fucking right here. Is that this? No. This is a breakout. This is not. That's price going sideways. Right? That's a box. It's not a breakout. And it's not breaking out above price. Now, learning that may take you a minute. Learning this takes seconds. You're not dumb. Price above green line. Like this, that's not complicated. Now, what do you need? If you're trading, what do you need? You need a signal to sell some, right? What would be, where do we like to sell some? We want to get out of the trade, man. Previous high, right? Previous high. This is the NASDAQ. What if you just traded one thing? NASDAQ. Almost nobody on planet Earth has the discipline to do what I'm about to show. If you've ever read Mark Douglas's book, Trading for, Disciplined Trader and all that, he describes this patternal exercise. Very few people. I've taken people who did not know anything about the stock market, and I say, listen, I'm going to show you a strategy to do. All you got to do is do it. Within a month, 3 weeks, this is all broke down. They missed a day, fucked it up, did something else. It's near impossible for a human being to do this. Go try it. Set up an account just for this and try to execute on it. And I'd say, listen, we're going to make your strategy super simple. You haven't been looking at stocks for 30 years like me. Price above green line, right? That's what we're going for. You say, why you say it like that? I want you to get it, that it's simple, okay? It needs to be simple. And here's how you're going to do it. You go in, and I would teach this. I would teach this to people. Get a notebook. You're going to write this shit down. Every day, print out the chart if you can. Screenshot it if you can. Oh, no. Gerald, you just added 5 seconds to my day. I know. Now, on the day you enter, right? The day you enter, there's a couple options. But the way I do it is I come back to the pivot point. Now, you can do average true ranges too. And you go, what's the average true range? Meaning you take what is the normal average true range, times it times 2. That's where your stock goes. That's an average true range stock. I don't like that. I like going to pivot points. In other words, as long as price doesn't hit here, I'm going with the girl that brought me to the dance. I'm staying with this trade. And that's the thing. And I set my target at previous high. Order entered. Boom. What do I do the next day? Nothing. Go to work. You're above the green line. Oh, Gerald, it's going up now. What do I do the next day? Nothing. Go to work. The guy says, but I don't have time to trade. Yeah, he does. It's not the way he wants to do it. So it would tag, I execute, I get out a part of the trade. What happens? It didn't keep going. If it would have kept going, what happens? I make more money. Where's the next target? Where it was before. So I have a basic belief that wherever price has stopped before, you see it stopped there 3 times, we project it across to the right. Now, other people call this support and resistance. That's what they're looking for. And it is support and resistance, but I'm using it slightly different. I'm using it for targets. And I'm going to not be greedy. I want it to come in. Now, if it's not this, that's not a support. That's different, okay? So you got to know a little bit about finding these pivot points and building out the structure of the price, picture of price. But that's it, man. And if this thing keeps going, good. I sell some more right there. And then what? It starts to roll over. Now I should have a lot less shares than I got in. What have I done? 10 seconds, 2 transactions with a stop. Now, what about as price starts moving up? Man, there are tons of things you could do if you want to trail it. Now, I've sat down and showed this people. It is virtually impossible to get a human being to execute on this. Now, what about when it goes down here? 1 to 2 things. You go cash or you go short. You want to be super aggressive, you go short. You go short, that's fine. You got to understand whipsaws. So if I'm going short here, it's not complicated. right? I'm getting short. Where's my stop? Up here. Which means all of this range in here represents what? I could get fucked. I could lose money. If price comes back, bam, I'm going to be knocked out. And then it moves on. Here's what the guy's not good, new to trade. Oh, bro, it's wrong over here, baby. No, man. You got to execute on your thing. So if you don't like getting whipsawed, then you don't take shorts. You wait. You're out right there. If you're trading, it comes down. What are you waiting for? Right? We're waiting for our what? Our breakout. Now, in the money flow, we're trying to get in even more. We got stage ones and sideways and pivot points and anchor points. But look what occurs right here. The opening the next day. Boom. Price is above the green line. What is that? A breakout. And look what it did the next day. I got mad at a lot of people going live over here. Anybody said something different, I have no interest in even talking to you. Why? They're trading something different. They're wasting my fucking time. I mean, maybe you have time for that. I don't, dude. I know what I'm doing. So I got zero time to spend with people with different opinions. I don't give a fuck, dude. Move on. Life, I have time times amount times yield. I can only allocate so much of my brain power to bullshit. You need to get a quick bullshit detector, man, and realize what I'm wasting time on. Because in order for me to be good at something, I need to be consistent, right? I'm not saying you don't look for change. I'm not saying you don't add new things along the way. But there is a time and a place for learning skills, like getting it down, learning what you're doing, how to dribble the ball, how to read, how to understand the news, how do you take in the news, not some other dude's opinion. Best thing for you to do about the news is just watch it. And don't ask who gives a fuck what somebody else thinks? It doesn't matter. What matters is the chart. It don't matter what Jim Cramer thinks. He gets some right, he gets some wrong. I assure you he gets plenty right. And he gets plenty wrong. All that is nonsense. It's just theater, man. I mean, maybe you enjoy it. If you enjoy it, then like a soap opera drama, like watching fucking ER or something, like you just watching the news and like, oh my God, you see what the Fed said this. Oh, you see what Kathy said about Michael? That's how some people trade, man. I'm like, huh? And they're like, did you see what he tweeted, Gerald? Do you think that's going to happen? No, I didn't read it. What did he say? I don't need to know. It says right here. So when price rips higher, anybody that's thinking opposite of this, what am I? If I listen to them at all, then I'm ignoring this. So this is all I need to watch, man. And if I have a fundamental belief that over time, quality assets appreciate or produce cash flow, Starbucks produces cash flow. And what if I want it to appreciate? When's a good time to buy it if I wanted it to appreciate? Maybe after it's come down. And so now I'm going to tell you, okay, man, you were lucky people. Yesterday, I'm on the street. I should have put this on my subscriber feed. The lady next door, 82 years old. And I said, ma'am, can I borrow $1? No, I do say that to her all the time, though. And I said, ma'am, when did you move here? She said, 1996 or 98, 96 or 98. And I said, if you don't mind, how much did you pay for the property? You ask people that? I ask people that all the time. The reason you don't is you don't give a fuck how much property costs. I do. So once you start giving a fuck, you ask everyone about the things you give a fuck about. So, Gerald, did you just drop a knowledge bomb on us? Yes. So what you think about comes about. What you focus on grows. It's a repeatable pattern and an ongoing feedback loop. Very opening chapter of the money flow. Now, this pattern I just gave you, you think I get lost when I'm talking. We'll get back to the old lady. This is our target. If you want to trade this super tight, you could call this a box, man. I probably wouldn't. And this is what the value of the 5-day, 10-day let us see. If they're all numerically ordered heading straight down, this box is subject. We need moving averages coming together. You know this, right? To get good hard patterns. We need like stage ones that we can believe in. It's the only way I can say it. A stage 3 that I can believe in. I want a nice, good, deep pattern. I want the RSI to go extreme. I want to put in a solid anchor point. I want price going sideways. That's 4 days of price movement sideways. And that's what I see here. And I want this thing to take time and develop. I don't care what anybody thinks or says or this or that. Here's my anchor point, man. That's what I'm playing on. Because the fractal pattern of life and the human of greed and fear will be played out on this chart. And prediction is for me is nonsense. So as I go through watching, I'm looking for things undervalued. Now, a quick way to determine is something undervalued. This is quick and dirty. Don't mean it's undervalued, but it tends to mean it's undervalued. And you're like, what do you mean? I know, it's called an indicator. In life, we have indicators. If you don't work out every day, the indicator is you're not going to be in good shape. It's an indicator. It's an ongoing feedback loop. If you don't invest money consistently, let me let you in on it. Indicator, you won't have any money. So this yellow line, it's an indicator. If price is below it, it's on sale. It's crazy. You're like, I don't have time, Gerald. I can't look at stocks. I got no time. No time, Gerald. I just can't do it. I can't hit the phone and look. Not even on the toilet, I guess. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, you could put together a 5-minute toilet routine that checked S&P 500, oil, Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin, and what? Bonds. And you're like, what are you saying, Joe? In 5 minutes, you could check the big 5 and see where the world is going, and then go about your day. In less than 5 minutes. You don't need to know what a bunch of people said. In 5 minutes, you could come over here and you'd be like, oh shit, S&P 500 just broke out. Now I'm on the toilet when I noticed. I know you're too busy though. It's a lot of stuff going on in life. So as we come over and you're like, what do you mean, man? And I go, man, let's look at some oil, man. USO. That's a quick way. Damn. So when other people are like, man, oil prices are high. I know, the RSI just hit 70. You ever say that to your friends? Be at a bar and a guy's like, can you believe the price of oil? And I go, I know, the RSI just hit 70. He's like, what's that? Man, you don't know, do you? So what he knows is, he knows about lack, but he doesn't know the prosperity part. There's nobody keeping him out, man. I'm at a bar and I'm like, bro, you know you can just speak. You just go like this. I mean, you take your thumb, you hit the button. Now you're in the oil game. He's like, yeah, but when would I ever know? And I'm like, well, there's these things called breakouts, man. If you're like, all right, sit down. Give me $377. Sit down. Give me money. I can't tell you this for free. That would be shameful. Now, they're not going to want to know. Oh, man, think of what I could have just done for that stranger right there. So what does a breakout look like? Well, what I would have explained to him is what I'm looking for is to catch shit that's pulled back. Like, that's where we're starting the game. We got to start somewhere. We want to start on a pullback. So think about their swinging the ball. You got to pull the bat back, right? The swing trade. Even in investing, you're like, what do you mean? Well, investors are swing traders. You're like, what do you mean? Damn, don't you want to buy a house that's got a lot of equity in it? Let it swing back to you. Let it come into you, man. That's what equity is. So I'm trying to get a property 5-10% cheaper. That's hard to do right now. No shit. You ain't noticed. I ain't bought a lot. You'd have been following me around with the camera 10 years ago. I'm nonstop buying. Why? They were cheaper. Right? Well, how did I didn't know that then. I didn't know that then, man. I didn't have no economic procrastinator. I have money. I'm 32. I need to buy property so that when I'm 52, the property's worth more. Back to the story of the old lady. I said, when'd you buy your house? She said 1996, I believe, or 98. I paid $120,000. She said, I overpaid. I was like, what do you mean? I knew what she meant. She goes, it was all my money. I thought it was fucking crazy. In 1996, $120,000? It was fucking expensive. It's like, I had no right buying in this area, the French Quarter of New Orleans. So the area I bought in was the cheapest, shittiest area. This is my neighbor. I just paid $450. That's 20 years later. You ever see me draw this on a thing? Nobody believes me. Every house you buy today, if you buy it within the parameters that we set, you ever listen to me and my guys in Campfire Real Estate, the parameters we talk about? Mine are different than theirs. But if you buy within my parameters, in 30 years, it's $800,000 on an average $175,000 house. Now the numbers are, the numbers adjust, but the ratio is the same. So a $175,000 property that you only put 20% down, think on this for a second, turns into 800 fucking thousand. Do the math. I've done it on a whiteboard between cash flow, appreciation, loan pay down, not counting if you knew some shit like this. And you're like, what do you mean? Dude, that's static numbers. That's running a stock on static. If you put $10,000 into the S&P 500 in 1990 today, you'd have $485,000. Well, who does that? That's not even a projection that makes sense. You know what that is? That's teaching you how to understand the concept of compounding. No dipshits putting in $10,000, never putting in money again. But look what happens if you did. Now what if you're doing that and it's all the time? Go forward 7 years, 10 years, 20 years. The numbers grow exponentially. And this is why the rich get richer. This is why they want to take money from the rich and somehow try to disperse it. Because these fuckers just keep getting richer and richer. Because money does that. Whatever you said, if you invest, guess what? It begins to multiply. Right out of the Bible. You sow seeds. Nature does this. It's ever expanding. The difference is nature records it and it does it on purpose. Meaning the tomato doesn't confuse itself. It knows it's a tomato. So it knows what it does. It goes into the ground. It goes sideways. It breaks out. Ooh, it's born. It goes up, up, up. It starts to go sideways. Guess what? The money flow is life. This is you. You want to go up? Then you can go sideways. And then it's all downhill from here, man. Your health, your vision, your hearing, and they don't give a fuck who you are. It's going to happen. You're going to deteriorate. Boom. Over. You're going to go through the 4 stages, man. And shit, if life hits you hard enough, you might go through it more than once. You're like, what do you mean? Shit, you might do, you're in kid and you break out, you're doing good, and bam, life hits you, you go sideways, you're barely holding on, and then everything falls apart, and fuck, here you are 32 and got about as much money as you did at 18. Starting over. You're going through the 4 stages all the time, man. So me and you, we got to get to where we go sideways, we go up. And what do you ever hear me say when I say you're in trouble? Man, you got to stand your ground. Don't worry about going bigger. Don't worry about multiplying. Don't beat yourself up. Don't even waste a fucking minute thinking about that. Your priority is not to lose. Your priority is not to lose. And that's not account balance, by the way. Fucking balance. I mean, I can't stop the value of my houses. They want to take them down, take them down. That doesn't mean whether I own it or not. You're like, what do you mean? Well, I just paid $315 for a beach condo. What if next month they're worth $285? Okay. I still got a beach condo. Right? That changes the way that I see this pattern here, man. I don't need to wait on that. Good. Take it down. I doubt that happens. I'm going to be like my neighbor next door. Oh, man, when I bought this, I overpaid. I've overpaid for every piece of real estate I ever got. Even the ones I got deals on, I'm like, fuck, dude. I think we overpaid, man. This would be the top of the market. Like, all my life. Same with stocks. You're like, what do you mean? Look at Home Depot. That was a big secret. Well, you never could have figured this one out, right? Put that on a monthly. How's anybody going to figure out this stock? By the way, this will just keep going on, dude. They're going to reverse split this. This game will keep going. So if you look at this chart, I may not do it exactly, but it's 3 months down. You see these periods where it goes down, right? Wow, look, basically stayed the same price for an entire fucking year. Look at that. That's an entire year. Basically the same price. So you see this as you back up on this big scale of things, man. Look, it was 420 and now it's what? 305. And so if life continues as it has with your mother and her mother and back and back and back, land values go higher, cost of shit goes up. Like that's just going to keep on happening, man. And then all of a sudden we'll probably see oil's a commodity though. That's different, okay? The commodities have a different set of rules to them. This will go up and down based on supply and demand, also based on, supply in a sense whether they get it out or can't get it out or can produce it or can't produce it. And there's factors that affect oil versus wheat and corn and all that shit. But this stuff makes up the component parts for lots of stocks, right? Industrials, oils, shipping, drilling, MLPs. A lot of shit comes out of this right here. So we see this banging 7. This is on just a tear, man. Oil's been just the trade of this has been the trade, man. Whatever anybody says, the trade of the last year has been the oil stocks, or shorting ARK. But if you're long this and long ARK, look at this. This just keeps going. It offsets your losses over there and you're collecting a dividend. And what can you do with new money when you add it to your portfolios? You add it to the stuff not doing well. So when was the time to buy Exxon? Now? There are people doing that. No, man. You wanted to do it when it was the ARK. I remember when Exxon was the ARK of the day. If we come back over here, I lost a lot of followers telling people to buy oil stocks. Got made fun of. That's COVID. But if you go back and look on Exxon, man, this one's been a good one. And if we back it up over to here, let's go back for a weekly. Look at that. Bam! Comes back up. Bam! Comes back up. So we know this thing can move, man. And what we're looking for is what? Every person, I don't have time, man. I don't have time. You don't have time to look and see if a black thing is above a green line. That means you're long oil stocks. You execute. Right? That's what that would mean. And if you're a trader, you'd set your target. If you're not a trader, you don't do anything. Right? I don't know why we'd be doing the 20-day breakout. If you're not a trader, you want to buy after the big down moves. And you're like, what do you mean? That's another conversation. I'm trying to get these stage ones. But as a trader, we're trying to catch the breakouts, and then the previous highs become our targets, right? So we get in. As it hits them, we're getting out, man. So that's how the money flow. Simplify it as low as you need to get it, man. And understand this shit's way more than stocks. And you don't need some magic formula to picking stocks. They're all around you. They're at your house. They're at work. Stocks that'll make you the most money are not from a guru or a fucking influencer or from, any of that. Could be. I bought BX because of Grant Cardone. I've bought Pepsi because of Jim Cramer. So these things could be open, but it was confirmed with my own looking and thinking, right? And then letting time, meaning not changing my mind. Ever since I bought that Pepsi, shit's happened, it's gone down. I've just stuck with it, adding BX, same thing, stuck with it. Where you fast forward fucking decade, and instead of just, like being like the thing where it says if you put $10,000 in weight, no, man, I'm gonna put 10,000, and then every time I can on these days, I'm gonna buy another 100. Another 200 going forward. It goes for fucking years, and it's going to be hundreds of thousands, 300,000. Like, I'm not leaving it. Same with real estate. You buy a property, now you're making money. What do? You buy another property, now you're making more money, and then you do another and another, and you can just double and triple, right? Income. Like, I just bought this beach one. Now that's like 3,000 coming in that wasn't coming in. Well, not technically because I rolled a house, but you get what I'm saying. Meaning I can create income. Once I understand this, I now can buy at discounts too, right? So once I add fundamental value with this chart pattern, this ongoing feedback loop of this chart, let's pull up a daily. Do we see the money flow playing out on the daily? And I'd say we do. Got a little tricky. This is Home Depot, but that's what we're looking for. And we're adding these other indicators, right? Just like in life, we got indicators, and it's an ongoing feedback loop, man. I appreciate you guys listening on Sunday. This will be archived on YouTube, Instagram. Appreciate you. Let's turn off Instagram. Nah, we're going to discard the video. What's up, YouTube? That was, Eddie said, what page was I on? The very first page. So open the book, the very first page. So we never got past page 1. A lot going on page 1 of the money flow. It kind of sneaks up on you, though. Yeah, man, appreciate you guys. Anything I can do for you, let me know. Hit the bio link. You can see what I'm doing. It's delayed. If you're with us inside the Money Flow gang, I obviously let them know in real time. And your portfolio is going to look different, man. You're going to do different things at different times. Like, you know, maybe I own a lot of something and I'm not buying it. And you're like, hey, this is on sale. What do you think about this? Yeah, I like it, but I already have some. So maybe I'm not hitting AT&T on this one, but I was hitting Verizon. You get what I'm saying? So over time is how you build out your portfolio. And the guy says, you know, what would you invest in if you had $10,000? Like, it's not how it works. I mean, I'm making money and I'm constantly looking at what I own. I'm looking at putting it in. And so I would do what I did yesterday. I started, like, I bought shares of Hanes brands or whatever, right? So I'm starting, that's where I start, man. I would probably start at like the dogs of the Dow. And if I'm learning this stuff, I would start trying to put the pattern into play, you know, get some positions. So I told a guy the other day, I'd probably put half my money in and then learn this, have the other half in cash and just start putting it in as I learn this. That'd be probably the smartest way, man. Yeah, man, you guys be good.